little spot. Did everybody here get the save the date email from me? Did anybody not get it? No? Okay, cool. But we might start emailing from the Snap email, so you and I might need to do that. Just so people that don't know who I am know that it's Snap. And then we can probably start putting this out on social media, maybe June, July. We have a new logo, so who's handling that?
The new logo?
No, the social media.
That's somebody was,
okay.
and yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to do it. I can do it in post. But yeah, starting to get some sponsors. We've started a list, and if anybody has any ideas, some of our ideas for potential sponsors, I actually stole these from other photo shows. I thought, oh, we'll just steal who they are. Was Artifact, Boutique Film Lab, Jerry's Artorama. Jerry's Artorama is right next to the location, so they might be a good sponsor. Pixel Connections, Safe Light Imaging, Southbound Film Lab, and Third Man Photo Studio. So if anybody has any ideas of other types of businesses that would be interested, we discussed having Greco cater because they're right across the street from the gallery. So I'm going to go to them and see if they'll offer to sponsor the food. So we're just going to get enough sponsorship to kind of cover some of the costs. And then we've started on a list of press outlets and a press release that we can start sending out later in summer. Some of the press outlets we're going to send sooner than later, and then obviously some will wait till closer to the date because of their news cycle. Yeah, that was it. And yeah, the hanging system, we're going to get these boards. I found them. I meant to bring a sample. I don't have it. Basically, they're large insulation boards. They're 8 feet by 4 feet. And we're going to hang them and then just push pins into them. And unlike past years, where it was very specific on your space, it's kind of going to be more like a lottery system. I think we all felt with people that are going to maybe be shipping prints in, and then also some people might not be able to be there for the hanging because we have to do this all in one day. So if you can't be there from like 2 to 4 on the show day, you're going to have to trust us to hang your stuff up. And then the history wall, and then yeah, obviously we're going to get to volunteers for setup during the event and then take down. So does anybody have any questions? I know that was not a lot of information, but.
I missed the first part. Did you have a date yet?
Yes, November 8th.
November 8th.
Yes, and if I say November 11th again, just, I don't know. So November 8th, it's the show itself is going to be from 6 to 9. We have the gallery, I think, from 2 to 10. So it's a by the hour gallery. It's Main Street Gallery over in East Nashville. We've used the space before. There's a large room that will hold the projection screen and then the push pin, and a back room that will have the history wall and the bar and the food. Eventually I will need somebody that might want to do the history wall to kind of put together the posters, the old postcards, kind of come up with some kind of a timeline. And then Carl, you and I need to get together photos for the presentations or for the thing,
When does it have to come down?
that night.
So by 10?
By 10. Which is nice though. I mean, we can pull the panels off.
Oh, yeah.
And we are going to set up we're going to set up a system that if people want to buy the prints, now the committee talked briefly about a few things like having that print bin like we'd like to have, possibly, I'm looking at you guys because you were there. Trying to think if there's something else. Oh, we're gonna have a DJ, so that'll be fun. But yeah, having those print bins like we used to have, and then having like a sign-in table where people can purchase or get information about Snap. So,
Do you want to share some of the posters?
I can lay them out back there if you guys want to look at them.
I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, it's fun. If you haven't been around Snap long enough to know what the push pin show is, unframed pieces, usually a border. You push them in with pins. You just have to say, you know what? This is a print that is fallible and we're just going to stick a pin in it. But it's really fun. You can do experimental work. You can do stuff that you might not be necessarily wanting to frame. So it's just a nice way to and it's always been very fun for this group because it's low cost and yeah, it's a fun time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. And let's see, I think the next thing I wanted to tell you about was something about our JCC show coming up at the end of the year. Turns out it's gonna, according to Joe, it's gonna be in December instead of October this year. So just so you know about that, we'll let you know more details as we learn more. But our show is going to be, I guess, in December this year there. Okay. Not that I know of. Joe, do you know if there's a theme or?
We usually do open on
Yeah.
ACC, but we could discuss doing a thing, we'll prefer it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wayne, maybe we could ask them, some of you guys have worked with JCC, you may know this better than I, but if we were gonna have some print racks at our anniversary show, maybe we could have a few print racks at JCC to have a few more images.
Okay.
You know, or something, different price range than just regularly.
Right. So have the possibility of having some print racks at the JCC show as well.
I know,
Okay.
that's what I was saying, I don't.
Yeah.
What's that in?
Well, not a review part of Carrie's thing, but
Another quote unquote alternative is that we want, somebody had asked about it for the SBC show and we didn't really have time to implement. But the ability to have like contact information
Yes.
or print prices versus frame pricing, you know, those kind of things. So if people are interested in that.
maybe like a list that like a
Yeah.
lot of people, a lot of shows give you a list of, you know, the artists and the pieces and the prices and.
Yep. I can do that.
Yeah, there's some question about, for the folks on Zoom, there's some question.
Thank you.
Whether that would fly at JCC. So, but we were discussing
You know,
that.
we talked to Carrie about
Yeah,
at least the pricing list. And so that if people want to offer things unframed, you know,
Yeah.
then you provide your contact information. Usually we don't put contact information.
No, but on a list you probably could, is that what you were gonna say?
Yeah.
Emily, you had a thought?
No, I'm just happy to hear every now and then a summary of what you all are saying that we
Okay.
can't hear.
Okay, right.
Sorry, Emily.
No, it's the technology. It's not you all.
Maybe we could think about getting a room microphone to plug into.
Or maybe y'all
Right.
could just kind of rephrase a question or a comment every now and then.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, does anyone else have any news or information that you'd like to share? Either on Zoom or here in the meeting room?
We'll recommunicate the end of SBC show. We'll probably need an email on that
Okay. Okay.
to tell and work out when to pick those up.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I'll send out an email soon about when the SBC show ends and pick up logistics and things like that.
It's not till the end of June.
Right.
Right. It's a while,
Right.
but I just thought we'd mention
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we get started?
Can you give us an idea of who's there? Because y'all can see us maybe, or you,
Okay.
but we don't know who
Okay.
we're missing. I
No.
wish I could be there. Oh, hey, everybody.
We miss you too.
Thank you.
I'm sure. Okay. We have Heather Lose with us this evening, and she's gonna tell us all about the SBC exhibit and go through the photographs and tell us a little bit about those. So let's see. I guess, and what does she need to do? Press.
For the host. And
Okay.
you start recording.
Okay, let's see.
Well,
She may be able to just share, Heather, do you see share screen on yours?
Let me get my Zoom
Via
set up
Zoom.
There you go.
first. Hi, everybody.
Just turn your
Yeah.
volume down, speakers.
Mhm. All right. Let's see if I can share my
Yeah,
screen.
just share your screen, we've got you on there.
Here we go. Sharing is not turned on.
Request.
Oh, that's very helpful.
Better?
Thank you. Yeah.
I think you just click share at the bottom.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
click share right there and see what that
I'm
does.
trying.
Oh, I know. It's a
Yeah.
you gotta get the right combination to make it work.
Hold your mouth just right.
I think we're seeing Wayne's screen. Wayne, you need to,
Yeah. Oh,
you
hi,
need
Emma.
to just make the sharing available for share all, share multiple, whatever the option is.
Let's see, yeah, let's see. Where are your images you're gonna
They're all in a folder.
share? Try desktop, just see what comes up when you hit
Okay.
share desktop. And keep like Heather the host. Like I saw this, I'll let you be the host.
Let's see, whiteboard, yes.
Why those are showing up.
Can you show me how to do that? I'm not.
So you want to click on that right there,
Mhm.
maybe those little three dots.
Okay.
Is there make host?
Gotcha.
Okay, yes.
Great.
Is it being recorded yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, you should have a invite to be the host.
Open system settings.
I can figure out if I keep seeing doubles of Wayne, it's because he's sitting right in front of the screen. Here to share that one. All right, that's up
Oh,
here, and I'm
hey, all
not sure. Are you
right.
seeing
It's not in
that going through?
the,
Okay, then.
it's not in Zoom, but it's working.
They aren't seeing it out there.
They don't see
so
it out there.
Just
okay.
minimize that for just a second. And share.
I
It's
need to
not
share
letting you-
sound for
Yeah.
sure.
Where are you browsing the,
Well, we're getting stuck where we've got to pick which window to share.
yeah, that's what I was, well, is it, is it Chrome, is it Finder?
Yeah, what do you have your images on?
They're just in a folder. So I was just pulling them up in the Finder.
Yeah, and so click that just to see what it does.
Okay,
It's giving us like 30 choices of which screen to pick.
yeah, and they all have an exclamation point and look very angry.
Well, open
Okay, so.
unlock that. And that's your password.
Robin, you are the best. Thank you.
Oh, it's slowly coming back to me. There we go. Quit and reopen. All right, so it's gonna reopen Zoom, but it has to.
All right, so do I need to leave the meeting?
No, go, just move that back up where we can hit share screen again.
Okay.
Try that again. There
Hey,
we go.
hey,
Boom.
hey.
Right. I wish that my friends together, we have a brain and we got it. We got it.
There you go.
When you good to go? All right. They're applauding you out in Zoom land.
Okay, good.
All right, we're good to go.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Emily, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes. Yeah?
we hear you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, y'all can hear me.
We can see the picture too.
And you
Yes.
can see the picture. Technology works sometimes. Oh my gosh. All right, y'all, we're all set up. Thank you so much for giving me this great opportunity. I'm going to cover a little bit of ground that I covered at the opening. And I'm going to do that because I'm seeing some new faces here, and this is the first time we've met each other. So my name is Heather Lose. I am a photographer. I worked for a while in Chicago with a shooter named Sandra Miller, which was an incredible opportunity. We shot for Coca-Cola and US Army and you name it. Also for the Chicago Tribune. Sandra was a very, very successful photographer and probably best known for collaborating with John Malkovich. And they've been doing a lot of really interesting work together. So photography's always been sort of a passion of mine. My husband and I moved during COVID. It seemed like a really good idea to move into the middle of a wilderness reserve on the top of the Cumberland Plateau, where we basically saw no one except for the two of us, probably on a weekly basis. And at that point, I kind of lost touch with photography as a practice. I never lost touch with my love for photography, but you know, we were just a little concerned with other things up there on the mountain, like feeding ourselves, finding food, dealing with our own trash and recycling. And it's just a completely different way of life. So we lasted up there for about 4 years before I started missing my friends here in Nashville and dry cleaning and a good vet and good medical care and all that good stuff that we love. So it's been wonderful to get back to Nashville and to reconnect with the people. And you know, here came Emily. She's like, would you like to work with this show about the theme roots? And I was like, oh, girl, that's all I'm doing right now is exploring my roots and being grateful for my roots and reconnecting with some of my roots, you know, in a literal way, but also in a very physical way. And so the timing couldn't have been better to sort of get back into that critical space and looking and considering and loving, both from a formal aspect of photography, you know, and also all of the different places that it can take you, the different stories that it can tell. My job is editor-in-chief of a magazine called The Tennessee Conservationist, and photography is very important to what we do. It's very important to the stories that we tell about conservation and native species and stuff like that. So, you know, I enjoy looking, I enjoy critiquing, and so that's what we're going to do here together. I pulled this image up first. When I think about roots, you know, I tend to think of something that's already established, right? You know, there's got to be a growing organism for the roots to be there, right? The roots are gaining sustenance from something. And so this image right here, I don't know how many of you guys have, you know, you're pulling into Nashville, you're on the freeway, and there's somebody there hitchhiking with a guitar, you know, making their way into town, looking to set up roots, looking to grab onto that dream, you know, the music. And so I think Nashville is a very, very special town because it is a city of dreamers, you know, somewhat like Los Angeles, perhaps, someone like Manhattan, hopefully a little kinder, hopefully a little slower, a little more soft, but street photography, I think, is one of my loves. It's rough, you know, you're out there, you're kind of reacting to what's in front of you. And I think one of the things that we probably all share in our love with photography is sometimes we don't know what the camera sees until we get those results back. And it can be really, really inspiring, you know, to enter these spaces that we were in. We're moving so fast. You know, this guy's walking across the street and there are cars there. And so it's that split second decision. We don't see the man's face. I think that's great. You know, that could be anybody. That could be me, you, somebody coming into town to set up roots. And so I thought this would be a really great image to start with. And I'm just wondering if a photographer might be here. Is this your image?
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, thank you.
I just love it.
My holy grail of photography is the Avedon photo of Bob Dylan
Yes.
in the street.
Yeah.
It's like, it's always in the back of my mind when I'm out there, that photo.
Well, I follow you on Instagram and have for a long time. And tell me your name. Michael. So for those of you listening at home, I'm having a little conversation with Michael now.
And for some reason that's cropped at the top.
Oh, is it now?
The wire goes all the way up in the actual.
Oh, it sure does. I wonder what's going on here.
Somehow.
Let's do this and come back to it.
It's somehow cropped in here.
Well, that's kind of disappointing. Well, that makes a difference.
Yeah, there's a lot of sky and cloud kind of things going on.
Yeah. How do we fix that?
I think you got an image that's cropped.
No, it probably just zoomed and it's
No, I don't think so.
Robin, help me.
right quick.
Full screen,
Oop, that one is.
yeah.
Oh, how did I get over there?
Oh, fit to screen. That's a good.
I think it's cropped in the file.
Oh, well, that was.
There isn't on here. Yeah, actually, it is cropped on this. You've got thumbnails instead of the full thing, it
Yeah,
looks like.
you're looking at the thumbnails.
Oh.
Is there another folder with the full picture?
Probably not.
It's all right.
All right, well, we're just gonna carry on,
Yeah,
people,
just
and
carry
I
on.
apologize.
That's all right.
I typically don't crop photos in my magazine or in my real life. But all of that to say, you know, I think that's shooting into the sun with the, you know, shadow coming towards us. This is just a really, it's just one of those like quick photos.
Here's the actual.
Yeah, so that's so much
There's
better.
a lot of sky.
Yeah, there's a lot of sky. It's very inspirational. You know,
And
you
actually,
can,
there's more detail in this car and. Again, when you're looking at thumbnails here and they.
yeah. So, yeah, I just think this is just such a great image. You can see the hope, you can see the drive, you can see all of those beautiful things. All those beautiful things about living here in Music City and, you know, hearing these great people when they come to town. I also appreciate the fact that this is in black and white. You know, we all know, there could be a red thing there that draws our eye, or a purple thing or an orange thing or whatever. And I think that black and white it's just like a really great equalizer here. And it really keeps the focus on the figure in the foreground. I like the crosswalk. I like that he is literally walking with those stripes. I think that gives a little bit of an added interest there. But yeah, just a kick-ass image. So bravo. All right. One of the things that I really like, and one of the things that I'm drawn to is sort of the uncanny. And boy, you know, what's going on here? If I recall correctly, this image is called Burning Roots, and of course that makes sense. You know, and so when I first saw this image, I was like, oh yeah, okay, great. You know, so they're, you know, it's like, okay, why is there is that a lady in a lounge chair? What's she, okay, there's a dog. He looks very relaxed. And here we have a man with a gas can. It's like, okay, what is going on here? I believe the photographer is in the room, and I don't know if we want to know. Do we want to know? Sometimes it kind of spoils it, you know, it's like, what's happening?
I want to know. Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Kay
yeah.
wants to know. So,
Much like Michael's work, I don't know what happens in my camera until I put it in the computer. As many of you know, I do aerial photography from airplanes and helicopters, and this was probably somewhere in West Tennessee, and I was probably going from one site to the other, and I said, oh my goodness, there's a fire, what's going on? And I, you know, you snap, on to the next thing, and you get home and you go, why is there a dog?
why is there a dog?
And is that that's the plate? I don't know.
Yeah, is that a pool? What is that over
But
there?
it's funny because, you know, many people think we shoot with drones, and we do, but I wouldn't have shot this if I had a drone, because there's no reason for me to go over to this space. I would be right on my location. So I feel that having to go from one place to the next is where we find all those little special nuggets.
Yeah,
Rick Smith is one of my photographers, and he'll come back with just from point A to point B of stuff going on.
yeah,
Junkyards or someone's backyard, you know, situation, yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, this one was definitely like, what's going on? And then when I looked at it, I was like, oh, there's a little situation down there, so.
Yeah, you know, close
So we'll never really.
close the door, right? Like close the door of your truck. I mean, that would just drive me crazy. Like,
Did you want to give a little summary of what Wendy just said for the Zoom?
yes. For those at home, Wendy, our fly girl, that's what I call Wendy Fly Girl. She said that often, you know, when they're going from one drone job to another, they'll send something up, and that's where they get the interesting nuggets. You know, somebody's backyard or something like this happening. Did I capture that, Wendy?
Yeah.
Yes, good enough. I think the color really works here. I think that, you know, the blues up in the upper right, you know, kind of leading over into the smoke, but then, you know, just that 1, 2, 3, the magic number, those 3 orange specks are just like, oh gosh, you know, there's the action, and you take that in, and then, you know, it takes a minute perhaps to take in the figures and try to put the puzzle together. What the hell is going on here? But just a great image. And, you know, the space over at Scarritt Bennett, I didn't know this, you know, before going to install the show, but it has these wonderful walls that are sort of this pumpkin-y orange, you know. And then there's some walls that are white, and it was like, okay, well, we got walls that are white, we got walls that are orange. What are we going to do now? And so this ended up being one of the images that landed on the orange walls, along with some others. And you know, that was kind of the color that sort of ran through those 4 images. They're right up at the top of the stairs when you enter the space. And it really turned out that it just kind of worked. It was, you know, just one of those sort of random things. But yeah, you know, this is one of those images I could look at all day. You've got those lines from the truck, and you know, what's he doing? He's backing up and driving around, and just all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. So really successful image. Also up at the top of the stairs is this beautiful image, and you know, the color to me here is the story. You know, this is one of those just beautiful, look at this images. You know, the photographers just look at this beauty, look at these incredible roots that we also get to eat. But just, you know, here it is. I'm going to take a beautiful image, I'm going to light it, you know, beautifully, and blow it up big. That was one of the pleasures for me of going to help hang the show, was seeing, you know, these little images that I'd seen on my screen about this big and then actually seeing them framed and big, and it's a piece of art. So making that leap is really exciting. And I hope that that's something that, I mean, do you guys still get that excitement going from, you know, maybe seeing something on the back of your camera or a negative, and then, you know, making that leap to seeing it big, and then making the next leap to, you know, having it framed and beautifully. There's just a beautiful arc there, and I hope it never gets old for me or anybody else in this room. Whose image is this?
It's
Right
mine.
here. Well,
She's online, I believe.
oh yeah.
Hi.
Hey,
Yeah.
Leslie.
Hi, I'm Leslie. It's mine.
I love this image of yours. It's just beautiful. Did you eat the carrots when you were done?
Most definitely.
Yeah, I've got to keep my audio down because it gets on that loop and it's very unpleasant. All right. Let's move over to another slightly uncanny image. Wow. Boy, there's a lot going on here, right? Whose image is this?
It's mine.
Is this yours also?
I'm like, is this the Wendy show?
It is the Wendy show. You know, man, this is so good. Again, it takes a minute to kind of figure out what the heck is going on here, right? I think the color is just so fantastic. And, you know, you really kind of take it in stages. The painting, the beautiful, beautiful flowers. And then it's like, oh, look, it's a rainbow thing that priests wear.
Vestment, yeah.
Thank you, rainbow vestment. And then all of a sudden, for me, what this image that I thought that I understood what it was about, it kind of takes an arc. It's like, oh, where are we now? What's going on here? I thought I was in a community center or maybe a school, something like that. But just the presence of that vestment folded up in front is just, to me, it kind of like, it pulls all the colors in, and it's just that added extra thing, element that takes this photo from, you know, cool street photography, look at this type of photography, to, oh, what am I supposed to be thinking about here? Is the photographer saying something? The photographer's in the room. Can we ask her?
So, it's in Provincetown, so it's literally the first landing of, you know.
Plymouth Rock?
No, Provincetown. So they
Provincetown.
first, before, yeah, they first came to the Cape because they weren't really sure where to land.
Okay.
So Provincetown, there's a bay up there. that
Yeah.
goes near Cape Cod. So we were way up there, and it was for my friend's wedding. He's marrying his now husband.
Okay.
And it was just a super fun time. So this is the preparation for, you know, the flowers for the wedding, the you know, the vestment for the officiant, and then they just put it in front of this mural of like the first landing.
It's okay. So for those of you following along at home, this is in Provincetown,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Thank you. I am the product of the public school system here in Nashville, so my geography is not very good. But Wendy said she took this image as they were getting ready to for a wedding, and so these are wedding flowers, and the priest was going to wear the vestments because it was two men getting married, so he was showing his support. And yeah, I think this is a really beautiful thing. So, you know, you've got the roots in obviously these historic characters. You know, now we know they literally were coming to the New World, right? But you know, they're clearly historic characters. I love, you know, here's the guy, he's got, you know, two weapons, and you know, those poor women are like, okay, I'll wash your sheets for you. So it's just very interesting. It's like you've got a little bit of the patriarchal thing, and you know, but yes, this vestment, you know, your eye keeps being drawn to it, and the rainbow and the symbolism there. not only for gay rights, but also, it's a rainbow. This is a hopeful thing. This is a beautiful thing. So, bravo, Wendy. I just love this image. I think it's just so weird and bizarre
I thought it
in the best way.
was cool that you have the pilgrim man smile with him.
Yeah. He looks a little hungover.
I don't think that mural is expected, never mind, let's just.
All right. Speaking of history, who took this image? Yes. Okay. So this to me is an incredibly chilling image. I went back and forth, frankly, on whether to include it or not, because I think that it is a triggering image. And to me, it led to this phrase, the root of all evil. And, I mean, we are literally looking at shackles that were used to restrain human beings, correct?
Oh, it's a statue.
It's a statue?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that this is something that we as a country, the fact that so much of this country was built by people who really had no choice but to build these things. And I think it's something that we continue to need to really, really come to terms with, and really, really cop to the fact that, there's some really, really problematic history in our country. And when people talk about the good old days, and, I think we've got amnesia, and we're literally whitewashing our history. So I think that this is a really critical image within the collection. I hope that it will make people think just a little bit. Tell me the name of this image.
Shackles Left Behind.
Shackles Left Behind. Yeah. Were that was true. I don't know that we've left them behind quite yet, and I think that we need to do that. But it's a powerful image. It's a, it kind of makes my guts churn a little bit when I look at it, and it's a tough image, and I think that it belongs in the collection. I think it's true, and I think that it's important. So thank you for submitting this one. Any other responses to this particular work? I can't be the only one who found it to be very loaded and quite heavy.
I think you probably said it all.
Okay.
I feel it. And the temptation to look away, and then the fact is we shouldn't look away when history is forgotten.
The temptation to look away and knowing that we can't. I think that's a really good way of
We shouldn't.
Yeah, that we shouldn't. Yes, thank you so much for submitting this. Another image that kind of gave me a visceral reaction was this one. There's something very cinematic about this. There's movement and motion from the sides of this image, and it almost feels like you're being like pushed forward, to this cross, which honestly, you guys get this. So I didn't realize that this cross was literally hewn out of this tree until I saw this image big. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought it was maybe just kind of like propped up on a stump or something like that. But I think there's something really, really striking happening on the peripheral periphery of this image, the fact that, you know, it's a little bit out of focus, there's a little bit of funk around the edges, you know, there's a little bit of, you know, just drawing your eye straight in. It's like there's this motion happening, which you're being really called, this is how I feel, really being called to get in there and take this in. There were a lot of submissions to the show based around religious themes. As you might imagine, you know, for Roots, this is a really important part of a lot of people's lives. And so there were, you know, more than a few crosses and churches and things like this. There was something about the loneliness of this, but also, you know, it's just got this really weird magnetic quality based on the focus, I think, you know, the one critical focus right here in the middle. And, you know, kind of breaking the rules, like, okay, I'm going to put this in the middle as opposed to on the side, or, you know, the rule of thirds. No, it's right in the center, and it's magnetic. So I just, you know, this image really, really stuck with me. And I just think it's super cool. Who is the photographer in here? I love this.
Thank you.
Can you tell me what did you shoot this with film?
This is Lynn's baby.
A Lynn's baby.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Soul 45.
Beautiful choice. You know, I think that sometimes Lynn's babies, like, I don't know how to say this. I'm trying to say it kindly, but I don't want to, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it can be a little gimmicky, you know, it can be a little tricky. This to me is like the highest use of a Lynn's baby. Like, you're really manipulating for a reason, to focus our eyes on what's important. And just those blurred, funky edges just really, really work. I think it would be a completely different experience without the blur, and not nearly as interesting and satisfying. So I really like this piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see, what else do we have to look at here? Lots of trees, y'all. Lots of literal roots. As you might imagine, for a show about roots. So, you know, it's like, okay, well, if you've got 6 images of tree roots, then, you know, do you as a curator go, well, okay, we're only going to use 2, or, you know, do you start thinking in numbers? I found it really, really hard to get the submissions winnowed down to 32. There were so many good submissions, and, you know, so I had to kind of come back to it over and over again, you know, and each time it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll let this one back in. No, we're going to, you know, and you just kind of keep shading away at it, almost like that tree, you know, until you get the shape of what it's going to look like. For me, this was a really satisfying image. I like the instability of the angle of this tree. I like the darkness underneath the roots here. And I like that we're given a sense of kind of where this thing lives. You know, it wasn't just the tree roots. Pull back just a little more. Just a little bit of a longer exposure to get some of that water motion. And, you know, I really like looking, you know, formally, I really like looking at the tree roots and then bouncing over to the left and looking at the water, you know, and they've got a little bit of the same line. So I kind of like just kind of bouncing back and forth between, you know, this really rough tree trunk with the roots, and then this like cascading water that's so clean and so clear, and just, you know, it's got that cleanliness. So I think the composition here really worked for me. And then you got the icing on the cake in the lower right-hand side is here's this other little baby thing popping up, you know. So you can see this one tree's you know, probably on its last legs. It's on its way out. It'll feed the forest when it falls. And then here we have the replacement that's kind of popping up in the lower right-hand side. I really like the, you know, just the wide range of tonal value here. And I just thought it was a really pretty image. Is the shooter here?
Fine.
Is that yours, Wayne?
Mhm.
I really like this one.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Where is this? I'm just curious.
It's in a s- state forest outside of Asheville, North
Oh.
Carolina.
Okay, Asheville, North Carolina.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you make this shot?
It's about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I went there on Asheville photo tours.
Ooh,
The
nice.
gentleman and his wife will take you up into the forest surrounding Asheville and shoot pictures with you and show you where they go, and where they like to shoot.
That
Yeah,
sounds wonderful.
yeah,
Do you know if they're still doing that
they
today?
do.
Do they? Good.
And yeah, it's called Asheville Photo Tours.
Okay.
And they also do photo critiques
Huh.
that you can do. You go online and they will you have a little group and you submit photos and they will critique photos.
Wow,
And
that's-
I do that with them once a month.
Oh, really? Wow. So for those of you following at home, Wayne said there's a group called Asheville Photo Group Tours, and they'll tour you around to various places to shoot, and they also have critiques that you can be involved in, and he does it on a monthly basis.
Right.
I have an
Um,
Instagram
that's
account,
great.
and this is the one we've talked about before.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very cool. All right, this is a beauty, y'all. You know, another look at this. You know, look at this. I think that the lighting here is just so sublime. We have a giant magnolia in our magnolia tree in our yard, and I think it's because we've had such a wet spring. But that thing has, y'all, I swear it's been blooming for like 2 or 3 months now. Just these giant, giant blossoms, and they're the creamy white. You can almost smell this photo, right? You know, it speaks for itself. Like, you know, it's just a beautiful composition. It's so simple. You know, these are deceptively hard to shoot. Is the photographer here? I just love this image. Can you tell me, I'm just curious, I mean, how did you set this up for yourself to shoot this?
Actually, like glue and pins and things involved. It hung from a little rod,
Wow.
lighting, had a black background.
Okay, so not laying it down and shooting,
No,
but
no, no.
hanging it with a black background. Very nice. Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
What are the roots from? I know you have a story behind these of that you took the blossom and then there's. you
I
took-
spent one winter, I just thought I wanted to do a series using roots, and I spent a very cold winter digging up roots and putting together different different images using feathers and flowers and
Yeah.
acorns, and so it was just a whole series.
Wow.
of rooted.
And this is before the prompt for this particular show.
This is probably 7 years old.
Oh my gosh, so you had a whole body of work ready.
I saw the theme and said, all right, got that.
Okay, yeah. And I do believe you had 2
There's
pieces.
another one.
Yeah, there is another one with the Dumbo's feather, I think it was called, with speckled feather. Yeah, that was another beautiful piece. Yeah, just so beautiful.
Thank you.
And did you light it from the front? I mean, tell me about the
I did it my
lighting.
side,
Okay,
and, I just used that one light.
just one light from the side. Yeah, so simple and so beautiful.
Thank you.
Great shot. Okay, so this is a little different. Oh, Like you can almost hear this image, right? You know, and this image, I just love, again, street photography. It's right up my alley. Get it? Sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to do that. It just happened. This image made me think. I didn't know what city it was in. Is the photographer here?
Oh.
Yay, you're here. You're like, I did make that.
It's in San Francisco.
Is this San Francisco?
Yes.
You know, and it's really interesting. The idea of, you know, the simulacrum, right? Like the Chinatown, you know, there's one in San Francisco, there's one in New York, you know, so the idea of roots literally being another country. And the people, you know, who come from one country or another and they put down roots in a new place and they bring remnants of the old place, you know, that, I mean, that's just what America's all about, right?
They were developed or created back in the 1800s when Chinese people were heavily discriminated and abused. So they put together towns for themselves to protect themselves against you know, the abuse and whatnot. And then because they're so Chinese oriented, they kind of discourage anybody else. Not now, but now they attract people. Before they discourage people other from coming in. That was their fortress. So,
Yeah, the safe space.
yeah.
Safe space. Yeah. It's really moving. But this image has so much going on. You know, I love the tiny little lights that are strung. It almost looks like it's snowing, and you know, the red globes everywhere. And I'm so glad this isn't in color, although I'm sure it's a beautiful scene in color. But I think, you know, again, just having the shades of gray there, it's a great equalizer. It really allows you to kind of move around in the space without being distracted by, you know, red lanterns and the yellow of the school crossing. Yeah, just such a cool image. I like it. Another street photography image. You know, this one, gosh, there's that little tree, and y'all, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that tree's already been cut once. There's a little edge right here. Can you see that? So somebody's already chopped that poor thing down once, but yet here it comes again on the edge. And I think that to me, this is just one of those beautiful formal street shots, you know. There's a guy back here who knows what he's doing, probably looking at his phone. But I just love everything so angular, so brutalist, you know, so man-made, so concrete, so hard, right? Everything in this photo is hard except for this tree and the human, of course. You know, he's kind of an afterthought. But the way that this tree is growing up, it's just that life force. It's just got to grow because it's a tree, even though who knows what kind of dirt is in that poor little cube. And I just love the white tree against that black background. And it's almost defiant in a really cool kind of organic way. Is the photographer of this another one of yours? Where is this?
It's those real brutalist buildings in the state buildings, and there's like kind of a walkway through between the buildings.
Okay.
And I photographed it, and then I think I put it online, and I didn't really think about it. And then that meeting, snap meeting a few months ago, when Rich Selling was here and was making prints, and I didn't bring in, you know, a flash drive or anything, but he could get things off my phone. So I just randomly, and once I saw it in a print, I was like, wow. His print was really beautiful.
Yeah. So just talking about that this is in downtown Nashville. and it was a snap on your cell phone.
No, it wasn't, it wasn't a cell phone. No,
Okay.
I did with the phone.
I misunderstood.
I think you put it on yourself.
Oh, I put it on my, yeah.
Oh, okay, now I understand. So,
And the funny thing is, I went back like about a month later, and that tree is in like full bloom.
oh,
I mean, it looked dead there.
wow, yeah, good on it. Poor little guy. Well, I hope he has many more years. Yeah, I love the way that the Brutalist building kind of wraps around. It's almost like it's got a ceiling to crash through eventually. It's just a really, really nice composition. The tree and then that human, luckily wearing a black top. I think that just, oh, is he vaping? Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. I know him. No, I'm just kidding. Busted. All right, let's talk about this image. I think this is a really special image. Just the idea of roots and family and heritage. I gathered that this was taking place in a church. So, you have that layer of meaning here. The gesture and the tenderness of the man on the right over here, and his hand and the way he is, just the protection of these great men. And thank goodness they're all bald, because that is just fantastic, right? And then you have this sweet little face looking directly at you, the viewer, right? Like inviting you to be perhaps the fourth wall, or perhaps to investigate a sense of perhaps having the same roots, right? That humanity that we all have. So I think this is a really, really special image. It's just one of those, if you didn't get it in the second, it would have been gone. But this gesture of protection, this gesture of love, the gesture of pride, and these three guys with their bald heads, it's just fantastic. And I don't see, what is the young lady's name? Kimberly. I was hoping to see her tonight. She's awesome.
I'm on Zoom.
But yeah, I think she really.
There she is.
Is she here? Hey, Kimberly.
Hi.
I can't hear you, but hi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a lovely, lovely scene. So, and then there was one more image of Kimberly's, and I don't know. Yeah, here we go. Everyone's favorite, the old Hermitage Cafe. Gone, never forgotten, will always be missed. Kimberly and I had a great conversation about this particular image when we were hanging. Maybe it was at the opening. I can't remember. But just the idea of these, these places that we go to for community, for kindness, maybe just for a cup of coffee after a long night at Cantrell's. Those places are, I did say it out loud. Make sure you bring cash. They don't take a credit card. These are important places. And I think that the fact that this is a place that we, yet another place that we have lost here in Nashville, one of these really important gathering places, that adds a little bit of weight to this particular image, but I think it stands on its own also. I love the structure that we see, just through the window with the window panes, and it's bisected down the middle. There's a little bit at the top, there's a little bit at the bottom. Then you take in the sign, which is, just kind of wackadoodle cursive. And then, you know, you can kind of enter through the rain, through the glass, and start reading all these other wonderful signs in this image. My favorite is what does it say? We do not have Wi-Fi. Talk to each other. You know, I mean, that's really good advice. It's just, you know, as the kids would say, it's a mood, it's a vibe. We all know what it feels like to sit inside a warm cafe on a rainy night or a rainy day and, you know, chat with a friend or a stranger, and just that refuge that you can have. And, you know, to me, this speaks of Nashville, the Nashville that some of us in this room remember as a small town. You know, hopefully those places are still here and there, but they are very, very important to the fabric of a community, these gathering places. And I think this is a really successful image. It makes me feel things. It makes me yearn for things that we're losing or have lost. And it makes me value the places like this that we haven't lost yet. And on that note, check out this one. We're missing a little bit of this image over here to the right, and I apologize for that. You know, wow. So what are we doing here? We're pulling up old Nashville and seeing new Nashville in the background. That's what I think is going on here. I think that this is demolition, preparing for something else. So these are the literal roots that have been uprooted in an architectural sense to make way for something new. I think this is a really, it's kind of sad. It is what we're dealing with here. You know, if you've lived here for a while or you've watched what's happened. Is a photographer here? I guess we will never know. Maybe that's okay.
Gerald often works in wide aspect ratios.
Okay.
And sometimes vertical.
Yeah. Okay.
He's in France right now.
Oh, well, there's a lot to shoot over there. Okay, so the point was just made that this photographer uses the wide format, and I think it really works clearly for this image. The composition is just great. You know, having to look through the detritus of the roots of the city and seeing that shiny city on the hillside in the background, you know, that's pretty cool. And it tells a story for sure. How am I doing on time, you guys?
7:40.
Okay. What time do you want me to stop? Because I could.
Anytime after 8 o'clock.
Okay. We'll keep going.
Before 9.
Before 9. I'm not going to talk that long. No. All right. Well, unfortunately, gosh, is there any way to?
I think you can move.
Yeah, let me. There. Let's just do that, because I want to see all of this one. So I know this is one of Emily's, and you know, I think this is a really interesting montage. I believe it was called, Emily, Glimpses of
Resilience.
Word I'm looking for. Resilience. Thank you. And indeed, yeah. You did the title cards. Yeah, you know, it's sort of like animal, mineral, vegetable, human. There's something about the color palette, the way that this flows across, the organic shapes, you know, the woman's jacket, her hands, what she's knitting. You know, these are in this, you know, the earth tones that pick up the roots on the other side. And then here we have, you know, this old building with the new stuff in the background with all the glass, and a tree that just is kind of refusing to be cut down. I think this is a really interesting piece. I love the long skinny format. I think it's super cool. It reminds me of film, you know, so it's telling us a story. So I think that format can definitely give us some hints as how to take something in, as how to look at something. And Emily, I think this was very successful and very moving. And I love seeing it big.
Thank you.
All right, so now I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna try to flip. And let's see if it'll let me. Okay. And we're gonna go here. Okay. Oh. So they keep putting that thing. All right. Is the photographer of this image here?
I'm on Zoom here.
Who is it? Ron. Hey, Ron.
Hey there.
There he is. Hey. You know, this image kind of did something to me. The title had the word Creole in it. And, you know, so it took me right down there to New Orleans. It took me down to Louisiana, which is such an interesting and spooky and loaded place. You know, the Spanish moss on these trees and the road to who knows where you're going. It's textural, it's slightly creepy, which I love. There's a texture to this piece. It's very dense, and you know, I got a little bit of the hint of, again, you know, New Orleans as a port through which enslaved people were bought and sold. And I don't know if, you know, Ron, I don't know if that's the point of this piece. And I am just bringing my own stuff to this, as we do. I remember when I was in art school, I got really, really mad in one of my classes when we kind of went over the notion that the meaning in a piece of art was up to the viewer and not the artist. It was like, what? But I put so much into this, it's up to me. And it's like, it's kind of not, you know. And I finally understood that as I kind of work through it in my mind. You know, you can give breadcrumbs, you can put a cross in the middle of a format, you can hit somebody over the head with whatever, but they are bringing their own background, their own culture, all of those things. And the meaning is going to come from that in combination with what you're looking at. And so, Ron, if I've missed the boat here, I apologize, but that's where I landed with this particular piece. You know, it's creepy and it's scary and it's beautiful all at the same time. I love the sepia tone. It kind of gives it a little historic nod. You know, it's hard to know if this was shot yesterday or, you know, 50 years ago. So there's a timeless quality to it. with the sepia tone, and I, you know, again, it's kind of living for me on that edge between being really beautiful and something that's maybe kind of terrible. I'm not really sure. But I thought it was a really interesting image, and it looked great on the wall.
You're spot
I also
on.
want to talk about this piece. You know, this, again, lots of tree submissions. This one, to me, there's something about that gold that we're seeing. I'm guessing it's beach. I'm not really sure. Ron, is this one of yours also?
Yes, it is.
I can't hear you. Let's see.
Yeah, it is.
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Hello?
Ron,
Yeah, I'm here.
is this one of yours?
It is.
It is. Is that,
Yes.
are those beech trees?
I believe so.
Yes. Okay. I think they are. All right. So, this almost, I don't know how to express this, sort of like a gilding of gold, almost Asian in a sense, very flat, but yet, you know, that the beauty of those beech leaves and that gold tone against pretty much everything else being, you know, sort of the monotone black and white. And then there's, you know, just a little hint of green in the foreground. And I fear that this is another one that has been cropped somewhat. But I, you know, I just kept coming back to this image, and it's just, there's something very ethereal. There's something very dreamlike about this photograph. And I just thought it was so beautiful, and it looked great on the wall too. What else do we want to talk about? There were a couple of, shall we say, non-traditional photography submissions that made it into the show. This was one, and I would love to know who made this. Yeah, right on. And you had a couple of other submissions that were similar, perhaps. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about how you made this? Because I'm curious.
I don't know if there's a name for it. It's kind of a mixture of all the historic processes that I learned. The base is RC paper from the dark room, exposed with some stuff from turnip green or turnip green. Yeah. So I was kind of, what do I do with it? What do I do with it? So I was doing cyanotypes and thought, okay. And then anthotypes, which use turmeric and beet.
Oh,
and
wow.
all those weird things. And so it was kind of a mess. But I mean, it was some mead that I pulled out of my sidewalk.
Wow.
And kind of cleaned it all up and smushed it flat and started painted it and threw things on it and lots of less than it was hard.
Yeah.
Because with all those textures and all those things, I was losing roots, and so it was frustrating. But it was fun.
It's really cool. It sort of looks like outer space in a sense, or
like a galaxy.
Yeah, galaxy, yeah. A galaxy made out of a plant.
Like old like saran wrap or bags or whatever packaging.
Yeah.
You kind of match it on there with bubbles.
Oh, wow.
Like from the sink, and it kind of gives it that weird texture.
It's very cool. And tell me your name again. I know Lee, of course. So Lee, for those of you guys at home, Lee just said that she kind of came in and was using a bunch of different alternative processes like cyanotype and just like some RC paper that she picked up at the turnip green, and just kind of throw in a bunch of stuff at this, and it worked. It's really interesting. Yeah. It's very cool big too. Yeah. Very neat. And then we also, that's not the one I was looking for. but we can talk about this. Another beautiful street photography image. I think what's really interesting to me about this one, I love the wet street. The photographers, we love those wet streets, right? Oh, they're just so good. The feeling of permanence of these buildings and the impermanence of the people that are sort of wandering through. I like the color in this one. You know, the point, I think, is clear. And, you know, I just, I think that sometimes images, what am I trying to say? Sometimes when okay, so I used to teach, right? And what I would tell my students is, if it came easy to you, that's good. If this is something that is easy for you, then you should keep doing that. I think that sometimes as creative people, we think that the only valuable things we create are the ones where we have to work really, really hard and we have to labor, and it's got to be hard or else it's not good. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Right. So I think that sometimes we need to give ourselves a break as artists and go, you know what? It can be easy, right? It can be standing in the street and shooting a beautiful building, and you just happen to be lucky enough to capture two people walking across in the doorway, and that is enough to make a great image, right? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? So we don't have to bend over backwards all the time. We can, but that's not, that doesn't define good photography or good art or a good experience for the viewer. All right. We don't always have to like rip out our guts and step on them and stretch them up over our heads. You know, sometimes we can just be in the right place at the right time. And I think this is a great example of that. I love the rich color in this. You know, and it's just a lucky, you know, those two people, it's key. Is the photographer here?
What I love, the Ford red shoe. And that was
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I love it. Tell us about shooting this.
Well, you know, I called it something like my grandfather's Lower East Side. He landed in New York from Ellis Island in like 1896 and never left Brooklyn. He went to Manhattan. I suppose. And he wasn't religious. I'm sure he walked by that synagogue, but he wasn't really. He was a secular kind of guy. Interestingly, that is right across the street from the famous Cat's Deli, where the Harry and Sally Senior shop.
Really now? Oh. Wow. So for those of you guys listening at home, this is right across the street from Cat's Deli, which was that important scene from when Harry met Sally. I got that right. Yeah, I'll have what she's having. Would you like to play out the rest of the scene for us, Wendy? Well, great shot. You know, you can feel the cold, you can feel the air, and I just think it's a good one. Here's another street shot. Very different street. You know, to me, this is about the composition, this beautiful purple hedge that is just like out of hand. The super cool truck, you know, just the shapes and the formal composition is just really great. I love that you let the hedge drop off right before the edge of the frame. I think this would be a completely different image if that purple went all the way across. It's, you know, it's got an ending and we get to see the ending. And I think it's just really, really beautiful. Where was this made?
Alaska, Montana.
Montana.
Which is, it's in the flat upper northeast of Montana. There's a town that was, I mean, it's a county seat, but it's a very isolated county seat.
Okay.
The railroad goes through there.
Okay.
One Amtrak a day, and, but it's the Great Northern. And so it's a town that my grandfather spent some time in when he and his buddies were popping freight trains in 1925.
Wow.
And I don't think the lilacs have been there quite that long, but apparently people started planting lilacs there. And it's May, and they bloomed early the year that my mom and I were there. So
Wow. So the town has a lot of lilacs?
lots of lilacs.
Really?
Yeah, it was a thing. Well, lilacs grow in cold weather, like they need
Yeah.
really cold winters. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're from the Balkans. So,
Interesting.
which is why they're hard to grow here. It's actually.
Yeah, they're terrible here. So those of you guys at home, this is Montana, and lilacs do really well in Montana. This is a gorgeous piece. Did you shoot this on film, Laura, or is this a digital shot? I'm just curious. Yeah. There's a.
But I take the film as a compliment.
Well, you know, the reason I asked, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of, I don't want to say it's like the saturation has been dialed down a notch or two, and it gives us this like kind of age quality, which is really, really appealing to me. And I
dialed the saturation down.
Well, I was going to say, I admire your restraint, because I think most people would take an image like this and they would want to push that purple up instead of like making a little more subtle, a little more pastel. And I think for some reason it just really works to have that dialed down just a touch. An old photograph. Yeah. Yeah. Kodachrome. Yes, exactly. Oh, do you know, I met him once at Melrose Billiards. Melrose Billiards back in the day. Yeah, back in the day. I was down there day drinking. Oh God, I'm telling you guys too many stories, but I was down there day drinking with some friends, and I had a camera with me. I used to be like Carl, and I always had a camera with me. And yeah, I was just hanging out, and this guy walked back, and he had a really cool camera. And so we started talking about cameras. He's like, you know, William Eggleston's sitting right over there. Would you like to meet him? And I was like, what? Are you kidding? Yeah. And he was kind, and we took a really bad photo. It was like back in the day of the flip phones. And so I have a really bad flip phone photo of me and William Eggleston down at the Golden Railing Pew from back in the day. Yeah. Yeah. Just a crazy meeting. I was stunned. Ah, look at that beautiful tree, y'all. Whose shot is this? It's Robin's. Tell us about this shot.
I did not increase saturation.
Yeah. Hey, it works. It works.
So had gone to do a shoot of one of our general managers, who spoke up to a national level with the board, and it was in the Sequatchie Valley. And his family basically owns every single farm on this one certain road.
Okay.
John Bell Drive or something. It's in the bottom of the valley below Richmond, basically. It's down. Anyway, I was leaving and I was on the phone with somebody, and this was on my left, and I just went like this. Was like, can I call you back?
Yeah.
And the clouds weren't there. I waited up above it. I waited about 15 minutes for the sun to really get almost at the horizon, and then the clouds kind of just walked it in, and it was just one of those stop and go back. And the road the road grade was probably 15 feet below, so I was looking directly at where the tree met the horizon. And the horizon was slightly crooked, it's a hill. So I left that in there just because the tree was so strong. But it's on his sister's farm, and it's been their family he said it was a really old elm. I never did, I couldn't confirm if it was an elm or not. I kind of don't think it is, but I'll go back and see what the leaves are there this summer.
Have you showed this image to him?
I know, but I've got one printed for him.
Good.
And, we've got a board meeting, or he's got a managers meeting here next week, and I've got a picture of the cover and then one of these for him. So.
He'll be tickled. Yeah. So being in the right place at the right time, but looking,
Yeah.
using your eyes and going, you know what? I'm going to stop what I'm doing and capture this moment. And I think, Robin, anybody who knows you knows that you're just, you know, you use your eyes, and that's what we got to do, you know, is really just keep our eyes open and be aware. And do you see the world through a square or a rectangle?
Well, interesting. Normally I shoot horizontal,
Mhm.
but that doesn't cover because I do covers and stuff. Yeah, so most of the time I shoot horizontal, but because I never really know what I'm gonna use it for, I'll frame it both ways. And I did shoot this horizontal, but I like the vertical so much better.
Yeah, I like the
But I do
vertical too.
frequently, unless it's like wildlife flying around, you know, have a chance. But yeah, I usually shoot both compositions.
Wow, this really works. I think that leaving so much space at the top really just opens this up, and it's just such a pleasing composition. The colors are so fantastic, and it's such a beautiful tree.
It was just a nice, really cool afternoon.
Yeah, well, you got a great shot out of it.
The only way, we were further in the valley, so we lost the light about 30 minutes before sunset. So as I was leaving, found the light again and just had to stop to catch it.
That's great. Yeah. All right, guys. How about this one? Who made this shot? Anyone? Jim. Oh yeah, Jim. Well, you know, this is, it's just so, I mean, you know, it's just so cool. It's like, I've seen a lot of shots of that mural, but to literally have the subject standing there in front of the mural and being able to get that shot, you know, it's just so pleasing. I love his pants, y'all. That's the detail to me that I just can't stay away from. I just love that one little detail of the checkered pants. It's so unexpected, and it makes me want to meet this guy, because anybody who would wear pants that cool is somebody that I would definitely want to talk to. You know, this is an inspirational shot. Looking up, there's hope here. There's inspiration, and I don't know. It's a beauty. Good one.
It looks like the guy is painting back there.
Yes.
And so
He's, yeah.
It's a capturing the moment, so to speak.
Yeah, sure is. Beautiful. Ah, yes. You know, formally, I just fell in love with this shot. Is the photographer of this, they're one of yours? You know, there's just poetry in this living thing. In the lines of the roots, in the lines of the one vine that comes around. It's just poetic and it's undeniable. And I thought it had to be in the show. So, yeah, no, thank you. Where?
Looking at Montgomery Bell State Park.
Yay!
And it's just last year.
It's a beauty. I hope that tree has a long and happy life. I wish somebody would come and give it a big old truckload of dirt. But that's part of it, isn't it? I don't know if you know, I work for Tennessee State Parks. So Montgomery Bell is an important part for us. I was on a hike with a ranger once, and he said, what's the most important tree in the forest? And I was going, wow, it's a poplar, oak, I don't know. And he said, it's a dead tree. I was like, wow, interesting. Well, because the dead tree becomes a home for all of the wildlife, right? All the little bugs and all, and they break it down and it turns into dirt. And it's like, where does dirt come from? Well, it's from, the decay. And there's a little bit of that happening in this shot is, just understanding that this is not forever. This is temporal. This guy's going to go back, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So it's very moving in a sense. I care a lot about trees, and I think a lot of people do. Some people don't. But when you see an old warrior like this, there's something emotional about seeing the struggle to live and the struggle to survive. And we can kind of embody that and understand it on a human level. All right, here's another one of Emily's. Double exposure, looking through a window, who cares? It's beautiful. There's just a lot to take in here. And I love the interplay of all of these various angles and the colors and the architectural features, the inside versus the outside, the color that we get in here with the shrubbery. And then that red roof kind of right in the middle. It's ambiguous, which I love. It's lyrical, it's poetic. And I just thought it was a really, really good photo. So you make it into the show. And I feel like I'm slowing down, you guys. But I also feel like I've got a little bit of I don't know. I feel like I maybe need to comment on every single photo. So we're almost done. Oh, and then here we have these two guys. No, I cannot. We can look at them like so. So these were really interesting. And I love photography that brings in photography into the photo, and is self-referential in that way. I think it's interesting. And it's, there's a long, great tradition of, bringing photography into photos. So Laura, tell us what's happening with these.
My Holga. So like I love these images, but like not every and to some people they're a hot mess, and then I'm glad you saw something in them because I see something in them. They're kind of since Holga's plastic medium format camera, so even advancing film can sometimes be tricky. So I don't know if it's slipped or these are not intentional partial double exposures, but that is what happened.
Yeah.
And then did you forget to forward it? No, I didn't. Yeah, and I probably didn't forward it an even amount, right? Yeah, because they tend to do that. Or who knows? And maybe I was shooting double exposures and the film was sitting around for a while before it got developed and I forgot. The thing with the Kodak insignia and the exposure number leaking through, it only does it with this particular Kodak film, and it's something I think about the way it doesn't do it with other medium format films. So there's something about the way the Kodak film is constructed with the Holga. You get this weird palimpsest of other, because you can see in the one you've got 8 and 9, so it's actually got. It's showing.
Yeah, here's
what's behind it and through.
8 and 10.
Very weird.
It's very strange.
Yeah, yes. So thank you. It's peculiar, and yet it did this. So
very peculiar and very cool. What film stock were you using?
I'm trying to remember. I would have to look at
I'm trying to remember which one. And it's one of the, I mean, it's a 120.
Mhm.
So, and I think it's probably, I mean, it's one of the rock and roll.
Very cool. So for those of you at home, Laura was just discussing how when she uses her Holga with this one particular type of film, you get the markings from the film, you know, the paper, the backing from the 120 roll starts to show through. So yeah, I just kind of got lost in these. It's really fun to kind of take in the words Kodak because we're at a photo exhibit and that's cool. Has anybody been to Kodak, Tennessee? There is a Kodak, Tennessee. And I was like, y'all need t-shirts. I mean, come on. But you have these little places where it's perfectly in focus. And to me, that's the key here. If it was all mush, I think it would be very disappointing and it wouldn't quite be as satisfying. But we've got these areas that are in perfect focus. And so as you move your eyes around, there's a lot to take in. There are things to understand. There are things that you will not understand. And that's kind of cool too. All right, we're getting there, you guys. Is the photographer here? This would Lee, you made these too? Oh gosh, tell us the story.
The guy on the right, well, let me back up a little bit. I inherited all of my great grandmother's photos.
Okay.
My great grandfather worked for the National Banner. She got her pictures when she was 17.
Oh, wow.
So we've got stacks of pictures from the reservoir in 1912. Their house was washed away. And so this is her son. He's my great uncle. Right?
Okay.
My grandmother's little brother.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the right.
Mm-hmm.
So this image was in the photos. And so for a project, she also kept a journal where she wrote about everything, and she kept all of the house numbers, all these things. So I tracked down some of the spaces where images were taken and tried to recreate them.
Yeah.
So this was on Ashwood Avenue.
Okay.
And so I kind of found it, that lovely little garage right there on the very edge of the road.
I love it. Yeah.
And, so I just kind of stacked them and that was then, and now.
Yeah. So brought them back to life in the current day, so to speak.
Yeah, I did a series for schools, like 5 of them.
Yeah.
I kind of went around trying to find. One of them was at Stokes School, which was really weird because when I found the spot, the telephone pole in the background was leaning today, just as it was in 1921. That was just really weird. Like, really
Wow.
I don't know, they just kept reusing the same pole.
Yeah.
All these houses and stuff are all not there. There's a big giant,
Wow.
like, travel billboard, and it was very strange. So it was fun and challenging.
Well, you've got a treasure trove of history. That's amazing. Well, I've seen this type of technique employed in the past of, I think the one that I think of is where they went to, say, okay, where were the Grateful Dead when they photographed the album cover for Working Man's Dead, and they go back and they try to recreate it. And sometimes it falls a little flat and it looks a little tricky, and a little, yeah, okay. But I think this was really skillfully done. We know enough to kind of understand what the artist did here, but she did it so skillfully that we don't really mind. It's very cool. It's like, oh, well, who are these people? They were there at one point and now they're there again, thanks to this image that you put together. And it's really effective and very, very cool.
Uncle Buddy.
Uncle Buddy. Yeah.
Everybody, I was just listening.
And Uncle Buddy.
He just passed away in 2012, I think.
How old was he?
Like in the 90s.
90, yeah.
He practiced medicine in Memphis.
Wow.
and He was still practicing
Huh.
up until.
Good life. All right, here's the mythical, it sold before we even finished hanging the show piece. Is the artist here?
On Zoom.
Susan. Hey, Susan. Yeah, I just think this image, again, this is so surreal. It is just, we don't know what's going on here, how this composition was put together. But to me, formally, it works. I love the angular, almost snipped up quality of the roots at the bottom. I love the sort of sinuous lean of the trunk, and then all of a sudden we have this explosion of beautiful purple. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Don't really understand what's going on in the background, but I don't feel like I have to. I feel like this is one of those images that you can live in for a little while and still have questions, and it's okay. And I love that type of work. It's sort of like the antithesis of street photography, where everything makes sense. And, you can put someone down on Lower Broad and we know where we are and we know what's happening. This to me is another type of work. I don't know where I am and I have no idea what's happening, but it's so beautiful. It's so well considered, and it works so well in terms of the color and the texture and just the composition, that it's just one of those beautiful, undeniable pieces. And Susan, I'm so glad you got a good sale out of the show.
Thank you.
All right. This lovely piece. I believe this was yours, is it not? Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about this.
It was made at the Bonaventure Cemetery in Savannah. And that was a huge import, or whatever you call it, influx spot for European Jewish people. And they had a huge section of the cemetery that's huge.
Well, it's a beautiful image. I love the critical focus. I love the woman's portrait. To me, that's the key here. The roots, like putting a human face, a recognizable human face. To me, it kind of takes this image out of, graveyard photography, but all of a sudden we can put, there's a specific, I'm not saying this right, but there's something about having the portrait of the woman in the shot. To me, it adds a depth of gravity. It adds a depth of personification, from which we can then depart and take in the rest of the scene. So I really appreciate being able to have a community. Sometimes when you're talking about art, you're going to be up here. So I'm up here for a minute. I'm communing with this woman, and I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. We are forming a bond. And then I can then depart and take in the rest of the shot on a formal level, also on a storytelling level. It also feels very hot and sultry in this space. And I thought this was an important image to be in the show. All right. Is the photographer of this shot here? Ron Rice's again.
Yeah, I'm here.
Such an interesting image. Here's a tree where we don't expect a tree. You know, it's just about this mood, the color, the heaviness, the sense that, you know, we're just enveloped in a weird sort of fog, and I don't know where I'm standing in relation. Am I in the water? I'm not really sure. But I just think this is formally just a really, really gorgeous, somewhat confounding image. It's very striking. You know, it has things in common with Robin's image. I think they're both, you know, just this beautiful saturated color, but it's also very, very different. And so I thought there was room in the show to have two like sumptuous, gorgeous color images of trees when you're doing a show about roots. And so there it is. We had two of them. And I'm not sorry about it because I think it's really gorgeous. And then finally, speaking of second images, here we have the Dumbo's feather. Yeah. And that kind of brings us a little bit back to the beginning of tonight's presentation.
We can't hear you.
I don't know what just happened. It just stopped.
You said you were finished, so it's.
All right, you guys, can you hear me? Those of you at home?
Yes.
Okay. So that was the last image. And I guess in closing, everybody here, everybody at home, just do want to thank you guys so much for letting me be a part of this show and for letting me, you know, think about and live with and work with your beautiful images. It's really been a treat for me to kind of get the juices flowing again and thinking about photography and thinking about various ways of telling a story. And I hope that this is not, you're not seeing the last of me. I think I'd like to join the group if I may, and get out there with my camera and make some images myself. So again, y'all, thank you so much. I think the show was a success. I think that it all hangs together very, very well. And I really appreciate all the various responses to the idea of roots. So let's keep putting them down. Let's keep tending to our roots. Let's keep tending to one another and our art. And I will hopefully see you guys soon. And I guess that's the end of my presentation. So thanks, you guys.
I think you're already qualified as a member. That's awesome. There's no dude. I don't know. I plugged it into the board, so.
I do have one more announcement. Got a message from Jen. and she had a message for us. She wants us to know that, well, I'll just read it. A dad of one of our photographers is somehow getting his astrophotography telescope for able voices to use for 3 months to learn about and practice astrophotography. The telescope also offers ability for panoramic photography and birding. Since this is a unique and limited opportunity, I'd like to invite SNAP members to participate in any programs, events we have with it. And if anyone is knowledgeable or has experiences with this technology, I'd love to chat with them. I'll share details once I have them. So,
Email.
yeah,
I missed a little part that I heard astrophotography, which I just got for Mother's Day, the tracker.
okay,
So that puts me, it's,
yeah,
now that I've got hummingbirds, now I'm just a
Right.
few ways.
okay.
So you're gonna forward that by email?
Yeah, it's actually a copy of her message. Emily put it in the chat.
But we
Miss
can
Dean.
get her to, why don't we get her to send it out to the whole SNAP?
But yeah, I'll forward the email. I'll forward it to everyone. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I heard the able voices and then astrophotography. And
Yeah.
I'll-
Yeah, everyone was talking, so, okay,
Here.
all right. Well, thank you all. Thank you all. And I'll see you next time. See you next month. Bye-bye.
Oh, I know. Yeah, real big, so. Yeah. Records, right? Now I don't know.